Now I know this man did not just say.
You look like the goat queen. Goat baby. I'm sorry, let me chill.
If you know the reference, we're here. If you don't worry about it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. That's still making me laugh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Taste of Reality. My name is Queenie, for those who don't know me, and we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 14. Absolute madness, the chaos, the drama, the yelling, the tears. It almost felt awkward watching it because she was having a true breakdown. This was a mental breakdown. This wasn't like, ooh, good TV. Like, to an extent, before it got to that point, it was, but actually witnessing, and I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Actually witnessing this was very uncomfortable, but we're going to break it down. So before I do, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Let's get it cracking. We're going to start with, what are these people's name? I was going to say Rachel and Rose. All right. I'm going to need Rose to get through their scenes, child, because I am bored. So they said they're going to work on Jose's list. I cannot speak when it comes to these two. They said they're going to work on Jose's listening skills. Yeah, because he has a tendency to bulldoze her in conversation, but apparently he's retaining the things that she's saying. Doesn't matter. I need to see it in action. Don't just tell me you heard me. I need to see that you're listening. Rachel says that the argument allowed her to let go of polite Rachel. I don't buy it.
But now any little thing I'll point out and he gets upset, and I'm okay that he gets upset.
Something in me is still telling me she's holding back. Now, she might not be the polite Rachel who was just letting anything slide before just to make the relationship work. However, I don't know. I just feel like she's unfulfilled in this marriage. I do. Maybe I'm just stuck in the past. Maybe I don't know. But something in the milk ain't clean, child. Something in the milk ain't clean. If they're able to be successful post the show, Godspeed. If they don't, I'm not surprised. Something in here needs to be fixed. I can't really tell what it is, but something's not right. Once they fix it, I feel like they have potential because they do show a lot of affection for each other, a lot of care for each other, and the want to be together. There's just some little tweaking that needs to be done, and they could be successful. All right, next we have Mirla and Gill. So we haven't seen bratty Mirla in a while, but she said, don't worry, boo, I'm back. She don't like the cabin. She don't like that they gotta share living quarters. She don't like being at a ranch because she left the ranch for a reason. Okay, girl. They had a date that was cute. It was a horseback riding date, and it was great until the end.
That was really short, but it was fun. I wish we could have gone faster on a longer trail.
Are you ever satisfied with anything?
Even when she's having fun, she's not having fun.
I'm thinking to myself, she has to be putting it on. I feel like she is more of a particular human being and does like the finer things in life. That 100% is Mirla. We accept it, we acknowledge it, we move forward. But this constant negativity, the constant nitpicking, like, how were you having fun and you still found problems? But not even, like, it would have been one thing to be like, oh, dang, I wish that was longer, but that was great. That was great. The but could be the positive. Maybe that's what you need to do, Mirla. I mean, you ain't got to listen to me. Who am I? But make your buts positive, because that way it doesn't nullify the good that you just said, you know? Like, it was a little short, but I had a great time. Rather, it was a great time, but it was so short. Minor example, but I know you guys know what I mean. Mirla was voted most likely to leave a function early, and homegirl was like, yes, that is me. I have to commend her consistency. I can't even be mad at her. I freaking love her. She's like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. Normally we see in Married at First Sight a lot of people trying to front. She's not with that. She said, if you don't like it, then you don't like it. At least you don't like me for me. Rather, you don't like the me that I was pretending to be. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like this is just an over dramatization of who she is, maybe a little bit. Because there's no way they're in such a good place and this is who she is on a constant basis. So I'm still hopeful about these two, even though production doesn't look like it. Brett and Ryan are in the middle for once. They're not one of the first two couples because I actually have notes about them this time. So Brett relays a conversation with Ryan's sister and immediately, he shuts down the idea of another woman.
How does that end up in her head after the conversation? Apparently I'm seeing someone else and I'm distracted.
It wasn't a definitive statement.
Now, listen, there might not be one specific woman that he came back to Houston for. But I think the idea of being with a specific woman is still in his mind. And unfortunately for Brett, she's not that woman. Yeah, I think the sister was onto something, maybe not quite on the mark, but definitely onto something. In that same car ride, he says that he feels he doesn't have to say how he feels because his actions show. No, babe, they don't. They don't. You're very distant when you're with her. You're condescending in her absence. You don't want to sleep in the same room. Your actions don't show anything. So you need to use your words and you need to mean it. So the first night, Ryan puts it out there that he's okay to sleep in the same bed. And Brett is like, since when? For some reason, he thinks that sleeping in the same room, or sleeping in the same bed actually, is effort. It's not. It's a front. You're trying to appear to be a united front in front of others, when in reality, you haven't been sleeping. And Zach asked a great question. Zach said, if y'all weren't sleeping together at home, what makes this different? And he genuinely didn't have an answer. It was a front. That's the answer. It's a front. They are saying that, there's more that went down. There's more that went down at this retreat that they're going to talk about on Unfiltered. I'm not watching Unfiltered. I'm sorry. Every time I think I'm going to watch it, I don't watch it. So listen, if Lifetime wanted to tell us everything, you should have told us in the episode. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what kind of effort he thought that this was. It's not. He could have done things leading up to the retreat. He could have done other things during the retreat, but sleeping in the same bed was not the answer. Now, to make matters worse, later in the episode, he actually insinuates the fact that she's childish. I don't know if that was the intention, but that's how I perceived it, because he thought that sleeping in the same bed was the adult decision. So now not only am I going to know that you're not attracted to me, but you don't want to tell me. You're going to feel like you're putting effort when you're actually not. And then now you're going to insinuate that I'm childish. He also says the trip has been ruined because there's a moment where she wants to kind of give him some criticism and he's like, and it's like, you won't accept any kind of correction. You won't accept any feedback from your wife, but then you expect things to be good. But how can things be good if you don't know what the problem is? Therefore, you don't know what to fix. Therefore, it can't be good. And now the trip is ruined because I'm trying to give you some constructive feedback, sir. And he's like, yeah, I just feel like giving up. How can you give up when there's been no effort? In order to give up, there needs to be some sort of exertion. You have not done that. Speaking of not putting in effort, they had a skeet shooting date, and he was kind of upset that more people didn't do the shooting. The more people being Johnny and what's this girl's name? Brett. The woman who you said is high-strung and anxious. You really thought she was going to be down for this?
I don't like sudden loud noises. So like champagne bottles, balloons. It's like the anxiousness of like waiting for that noise.
When she planned a date, it was something catered to you. She's not as active as you are, but she planned something that she knew you'd have a strength at. And even though they're at a ranch, because I know somebody's going to be like, but they were at a ranch. He could have planned something that would have been more inclusive for the both of them, okay? But to be like, oh, see, I tried, and she didn't even want to try. Let me move on because he gonna get me upset. By the end of the trip, he says that he has learned that just because something is hard to say doesn't mean you hold on to it, because unfortunately, a good time isn't always guaranteed. Just say something when it needs to be said and don't wait it off, because you don't know how long you will be waiting. Hopefully he actually implements this, because he's all lip and little action. Little lip too. Little lips too. Okay, too much. That was too far. I'm sorry. Next up, why am I like this? Next up, we have Johnny and Bao. Bao is not interested in reconnecting with Johnny. Johnny is not interested in sharing a room with Bao. These two can't stand each other at all.
My goal is actually to spend as little time as possible with Bao during couples retreat and not get into any arguments.
He said that through this process, he realized that he was a lot more emotional than he thought, and that he believes that there's a mismatch in their perception of the relationship. And I agree. He's delusional. I don't know where he thought he would come and receive a perfectly made partner, and that he doesn't need to fix a damn thing, and it was going to be happily ever after. Even fairy tales don't end happily ever after, okay? There's always some kind of something that goes on. Babe, I mean, they both irritate me a little bit. Bao only because why are you putting up with this? It's kind of the same thing we went through with Paige. But then apparently the tea is, Paige asked Chris to keep on for the, I don't know the full tea. I just know that there's a bigger story to that. But it was still frustrating to watch a woman be mistreated and constantly return back to that situation. But when it comes to Johnny, his whole being is just frustrating, just very, very frustrating. Bao is having a moment with the girls, and she says she's having a realization that the verbal abuse she witnessed as a child, she made a promise to herself that she would not experience that in her adulthood, yet somehow she's found herself in that situation and is allowing herself to experience it. I hope that she really takes that in. I also heard that the reality is that Bao is the mean one in the relationship. Lifetime didn't show it, so I don't know it. Okay. But she has allowed herself to be verbally abused time and time again, emotionally abused time and time again. He's been gaslighting her from the beginning. And it's time to call it, sis. We need something else. In the little superlatives game that they played, Johnny was voted most likely to go to rehab by everybody. Okay. Everybody's seeing that this man is unhinged. Okay. He's a little unhinged. Yeah, there's no hope for these two, especially when rumor has it Bao and Zach. I don't know. It's just a rumor. I don't know. But yeah, it's clear that this is going nowhere. It's a sinking ship. I don't know if they're gonna call it now and just be like, yo, we're kicking it at this point, or if they're still gonna try until decision day, but we can all agree it's over. Lastly, we have Zach and Mikayla, and we're gonna sit here for a while, okay? I'm just letting you know right now, we're gonna sit here for a while. I found it so funny how Bao was at every point of Mikayla's like turmoil this episode. Every point I'm like, oh, not the side chick helping the main chick. So they say they resolved their issues, and he said he wants an apology from her. This is the problem with these two. You say you forgive the person. You say we're in a better place, but then how can you be the one expecting an apology? Already you're going in with the notion that I'm absolved from this. You're the problem. That's a problem. They talk again before they get to the retreat, and they bring up communication. Now, we need to work on our communication. We need to do... No. You guys need to work on being accountable and not retaliating. Those are the two things that they are, oh my gosh, that is their biggest problem. They don't want to accept when they have said something to trigger the other person, or when they have done something that was out of line. And then when they do that, they get a reaction from the person, and their initial thing, instead of, okay, hold on, let me trace back how we got here, is to retaliate. Oh yeah, you did that? How can I one-up you? Oh, you're trying to one-up me? I'll do you one better. This is toxic. We've said this relationship is volatile for a long time. We didn't have to get to this episode to see that. But let's get into it nonetheless. Mikayla said that they're in a don't care stage or whatever. And in that, they have found love. I don't care what this don't care. I mean, I don't know what this don't care stage is, what this means. However, to me, I feel like what you found is the unwillingness to want to see the other person's perspective. The unwillingness to want to truly forgive, to where the slate is wiped clean and we're starting afresh. The reasons why I say that is when you don't care for someone, I'm no longer looking out for, now, how do I approach this in a way where I don't hurt this person's feelings? How do I make sure that in everything my point is across, but I'm still doing it tenderly? And they don't do that. So to say, oh, in this we found love, but the first chance you get, you're throwing jabs at each other. No, babe. What love? What love? Then Zach says the night before, apparently they discussed the fact that they are going to get a divorce. Now, Mikayla doesn't recall this conversation, but according to Zach, it happened. He says, marriage isn't hard. Being married to you is hard. Therefore, why don't we get a divorce, but continue a relationship? If your goal is to be married to this human being and you feel like in a marriage y'all haven't been successful, what the hell is being in a relationship going to do for you? And not even that. You said marriage is not the issue. Being married to Mikayla is the issue. But in your solution, what you removed is not Mikayla. You removed marriage. You see how it's not making sense here? I mean, eventually he did remove Mikayla too, but listen, I'm not going to talk about it. All I'm saying is there's clearly a dissonance between like what he thinks and what he says. Because I think he actually wants to be with Mikayla, but the things that he said, it doesn't align with that. And it leaves us all confused.
We get divorced. You think you'd be happy after that?
Yes, because we would not be married anymore. So then we can work on a relationship outside of this process. I'm sorry. So not like, just hear me out.
Okay.
So in the superlatives game, Mikayla was voted most likely to be petty by even her own husband and herself. And she agreed. She's like kikiing about it. She's joking about it. And Zach is not having it. And even before, when they had the little fight on the couch, he's like, see, this is the behavior I can't handle. Just, okay. Don't get me wrong. Mikayla's not on the right. Okay. I just want to make this clear. I don't believe Mikayla's in the right. I just think they're both in the wrong. Just in different ways, okay? I just had to say that. Now let's move on. In the bed, he accused her of being two different people. I would agree. They say one thing and say another thing that contradicts what they just said. It doesn't make sense. But I think he is also, you are also two different people. And that's why I said they. You say things and then say a different thing that doesn't connect with the last thing you just said. So don't just put that on her, babe. That's you too. The end of that conversation was basically him saying, no, it was her saying, well, I don't need a ride from you. I don't need to go home with you or whatever. And he was like, well, if you don't want to go home with me, then let me just leave today. And this is where the argument starts. I'm going to try to break it down in a short version. She's telling him, go, 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 go. And he's like, don't test me. I'm going to go. Don't test me, I'm going to go. And she's like, okay, you don't have to go. Okay, now I'm confused. Do you want me to go? Do you want me not to go? Okay, you can go. All right, he's trying to go. She takes his suitcase back and is like, you're not leaving. Somehow he gets it back and he's like, I'm leaving. He gets to the car, is ready to go. She's like, you're not leaving. Ryan is like, oh, let's de-escalate this. You got Bao in the corner, being Bao. And ultimately, he does leave in the dead of night and she is livid. Now, production already made this girl look horrible on television, so we're not going to do this on this YouTube channel. I will not be putting a clip, but if you watched it, you know how insane it looked. Yeah, they just, like I said, we didn't need this episode to show us that this relationship was volatile, but this just goes to show, cut it. Saw a preview for the next episode and she's talking about, I just want to tell him I love him. Love who? Love what? Listen, this struggle love, this painful love, nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. This is not the goal, babe, for either of you. I feel like they are two genuinely good people. They're just not made for each other. I do believe Zach needs a little bit more time in order to be married. Mikayla needs... They both need a lot more time, if I'm being honest. I said a little, but I mean a lot. They have a lot of demons that they need to work out. They need to sort out these things before getting involved with anybody. Like, child, it's not cute. Oh, that's not bad. It's only been 23 minutes. Okay, we managed to get through that pretty quickly. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's talk in the I really want to talk in the comments about this episode, okay? Y'all don't fail when you put your comments in, but this one, let's really be engaged. I don't want to hear about how, oh, she's psychotic. She needs to... We know that was unhinged and it did not have to go there. We get that. That's established. Don't need to see that comment. But I want to hear your thoughts about Ryan's mismatch in words to action, where you think Johnny and Bao could go from here, to be honest. I mean, Rachel and Jose, we ain't got to talk about them because they are just non-existent at this point, in my opinion. Mirla and Gill, they're fine as well. But also, Zach and Mikayla, how could they have rectified this situation or not have let it get to this point? That's another point I wanted to say. Sorry, we're still here. I wanted to say they get to a point where it's tit for tat, they fight, they disperse, they come back, forgive, and it's a cycle. They need to learn to not do the things that need forgiveness, especially when it's the same thing. You're perpetuating the same act. You know what I mean? So instead of doing the person wrong and asking for forgiveness, take a second to pause and think to yourself, now, the last time I did something like this was the reaction. How do I handle this situation in a way where we don't get that same reaction, where we don't get that same blow up? And if it's a different reaction, okay, fine, deal with that. But at least you've jumped in front of a potential blow up that doesn't have to be that. I feel like they're fighting over the same things and they're reacting in the same ways that keep them in this cycle. You know what I mean? We're still doing this in our late 20s, early 30s. There's no hope for me. I'm never getting married. Is this the market? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next week.